I can put it in, and then I'll thank you for coming on and change it all about. Yeah, so basically my inspiration for setting us up is I'm a barber and I've always done kickboxing and boxing.
Love that.
And third lockdown comes around just before Christmas. I've got 2 kids. I'm a limited company, so my tax bill lands January.
Mm-hmm.
And got to the point where I'd lost so much money, panicking, is my business going to be there? Am I going to be able to feed my kids in 6 months' time? And I've always struggled with mental health issues. I'm not ashamed to admit it no more. I used to be. And when you have them issues, you'll never defeat them. You can put them in a box somewhere in the back of your mind, and you can have a holiday from them for 10, 15 years. But then when the third lockdown happened, that box was opened like that. And it got to the point where I was that low, and it wasn't, I'm not going to plead poverty because I wasn't in a situation like some people are. I'm not going to say it was the worst experience out of everyone in lockdown, because that would be wrong. But that box was opened, and then all the negative thoughts came in. And my wife just said to me, she goes, look, you love boxing. You've boxed since you was a kid. You've done kickboxing. You've always said you wanted to be a boxing journalist. Just do it. What's the worst that can happen? And, since then, I've had Brad Pauls on, Linus on, yourself on today, and I've got more guests coming on. And
love it.
And it's changed my mindset completely, because then you realize, well, actually, my business is going to be fine. I've got this that I can build up and do something with, and do what I can as well to help. Because there's lots of plans for this in the future that are already in the pipeline, and do what I can to give back to the sport that really has saved me on numerous times. I was a fat kid that got bullied, got into boxing, and changed my mindset, and now I'm using it again to change my mindset once more.
Luke, I think it's very fitting, and this is by absolute coincidence. The top I'm wearing under this, I just got changed from training, came home. It was the first top I had. It says on it here, what does it say?
Boxing saves lives.
Boxing saves lives, no coincidence. So I believe everything happens for a reason. And thank you very much for having me on the show. And I think it's actually really, truly inspirational what you're going through to sort of come out of the other side. I think it starts first, any sort of illness, specifically illnesses within the mind. There has to be the first stage is acceptance, gratitude, and then like the notion to move forward, and that's really important, because if you stay still and you don't have that notion to move forward, or you haven't accepted, you haven't had this element of gratitude to say, okay, my life is okay, I am going to get through this, I am going to be well, and now I'm going to move forward. If there isn't that notion, then you find yourself going back into a rut, and it becomes a depressive circle. And I mean, I know firsthand, I've been in that situation, and lockdown has been very eye-opening for myself. I mean, on 2 days ago, I turned 28 years old. And although I wouldn't consider myself old, I should be coming into the peak of my career, but within the peak, having prime fights. However, I've missed coming on to 18 months without having a fight, and that means no income coming in. And that's put strains upon sort of my way of thinking and my plans that I had. I had to take a step back and say, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful that I've got a loving and caring mother that's hugely supportive, partner that is the same. She's excellent, and a really supportive family. And it's like, okay, well, I've got a roof over my head. It's now just keep on that notion forward. Here's what it is. Have faith in how far, have pride in how far you have come, and have faith in how far you can go. Sometimes you have to walk by faith and not by sight. And that's exactly what you're doing, and what a lot of people have struggled to do and are still striving to do throughout this lockdown period.
Yes, it's why I actually wanted to get you on. Is so obviously we set this up a couple of weeks ago, and I got Linus and Brad on and got chatting to you. And I'm not gonna lie, I went and did my research. I watched a couple of interviews, and I like to think I know my boxing as a boxing fan. First thing I thought was brilliant footwork. It moves so well. Can't believe it's only 2-0. It moves like someone with much more experience. And then listening to these interviews, I tapped into your mindset. You always, like, when you say why your name is the Diamond, and the philosophy and reasons behind that, and how proud you are of that, and then the positive mindset you have. It's like, well, no wonder he is how good he is and how well he can perform, is because that mindset is the mindset you need to move forward in life. You need to be proud of who you are, what you've achieved, what you've done, or else you will get held back. And it's obviously want to talk about the boxing, but it's that positive mindset that you've had. That's why I wanted to get you on, because like, this is the guy. This is the guy.
Thank you. No, really humbling, really appreciative. And yeah, it's I think the mental fortitude needed in life, because what you don't get told when you're growing up is, and it's irrespective of circumstance, because whether you're affluent, there's a pressure that comes there. Whether you're from poverty, again, a different type of pressure, but a pressure, and you can only play with the cards you've been dealt. And a poem that really sort of got me through the difficult times is a poem used by one of the greatest men of the last 100 years, is Nelson Mandela. He used it when going through probably the most depressive lockdown of all time. Yeah. Now we've done 2 years, not even 2 years, a year of lockdown, and I've not fought for coming on to sort of 18 months. This gentleman was locked down for 26 years. Of that, a large number of those years was in isolation. Now that is lockdown, for standing on what he believes in. And he read this poem, and it reads as follows: "Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. And under the bludgeonings of fate, my head is bloodied but unbowed. It matters not how straight the gate, nor how tarred the punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." It's extremely profound to me. Like, you have to believe that you are in control of everything that you can be in control of.
Yeah, it's deep, and I know Tunde Ajayi, he's got his, speak it, see it, believe it thing, and which is a same kind of thing, where it's just no one can tell you what to do, no one is controlling you. Put it out into the universe, and it will happen. And thank God the world's not like it was back when Nelson Mandela was wrongfully imprisoned. It's disgusting. But I could talk about that for hours, because it gets me wound up. Yeah.
Well, let's up the energy. Let's up the energy. I'm high energy, high tempo, high pace. So fire away at me, Luke. What you got for me? I'm going to zip this shirt up now, because we know what's under it. I don't want to leave.
What I'd like to know is, what made you take the move into boxing? Because you're a highly educated man. Lectured at university, brilliant job of Muscle Foods. You don't need to box for money, because you have an amazing education to fall back on. You just so happen to be very good at it as well.
There's two answers for that. One's probably deep and philosophical, and the other is quite simple. And I'll start with the simple answer. The simple answer is I am an avid competitor. My whole life I've competed. My mum's staying with me. Well, she's actually flying back to St Vincent this Friday, but she stayed with me over the sort of Christmas and winter period. I don't know why she decided to come over for the coldest period of the year, but she just wanted to see her boy. But we joke about how competitive I was just as a youngster, and that was always just me and her. And if she took me to any amusement park, I'd want to beat her. And this is my own mother, and I would be furious if I didn't beat her. Now, if you now perpetuate that into to football, which I played growing up, you could imagine the competitive spirit I had. If I wanted to beat my mum at any game, whether it be snakes and ladders, whether it be cops and robbers, now take that into football. Now, football is an environment where you have to be united as a team, and I made it fairly I made a fairly good sort of, I mean, if we can call it a career out of football in terms of a youth career, played at a fairly high level. And it's never because I was the most talented, but I was just so competitive, so competitive. And it was almost like that Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira type competitiveness. Even though they weren't the most talented players on the pitch, they had the likes of Thierry Henry, Ronaldo around them, but they brought the best out in everybody else because they drove people on. They weren't always the most liked, but they were just avid competitors. Now, boxing was a sport I always wanted to do just because I was just a raw competitor. I wanted to win so bad at anything. I would find myself in fights. I'd want to win. I had that raw ruggedness to win, and that's the most simplistic answer. The deeper answer is I always had to fight, and I'm not just talking always physically. It was at times it was very much emotionally and socially. And what I mean by that is I was raised by an immigrant mother who came over from St Vincent with nothing but $1 and a dream. And she raised me in the best circumstances she could possibly raise me in. But what that meant was I studied on one side of the town and lived on the other side of town. I'm mixed race, right? But of a lighter complexion. Now, to my white friends, I was like their black representative because my mother was from the islands and my grandfather is black, and so I was a white representative. But to my black friends, I was the white friend. So I never really had a sense of belonging, both geographically or socially racially. So it was like I was constantly having to sort of fight my stance of who I am. And I was constantly fighting both myself and the outside world to be socially recognized, to find my own identity. And now I'm at a place in which I can do so. And boxing's really helped that. It's helped draw out the confidence in me to say, look, I am who I am. I'm proud to be English. I don't care if that upsets my black friends. I'm proud to be Vincentian. I don't care if that upsets my white friends. I am who I am. And so boxing has allowed me to do that. Stepping inside that, it's the first time I stepped inside the gym, it gave me that confidence to express myself and be who I want to be. And so when you combine that with the sheer competitiveness, it's no coincidence how I ended up in boxing, despite, yes, maybe having a slightly deeper academic background than some other people in my profession.
Yes. So, because you came into boxing quite late and you had a very short but a very good amateur career. And I know you, there's one man to thank for that, isn't there? It's the first gym you trained at, they told you it was too small, too big.
Yeah.
Second gym you went to, they taught you how to box clever. And it's just I think the importance of having people like that in your life. You'd be amazed the amount of people you find like that in boxing. There's so many nice people who just want to help you, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, and you've done your research, Luke. Yeah, it's spot on. The first gym I went to was, yeah, they told me quite frankly, and I wish I was okay with that. That they told me I was too small, too big to box or too heavy. I needed to really, really cut my weight down and just shot my confidence from the outset. And I don't know, something in me said, you know what, go back, try another boxing gym. And I met Errol McDonald, who then just said to me, listen, yes, you are small. Yes, you are big. Okay, I'm going to work with what I have here, and it's a rough diamond. And a rough diamond still has the same value as a polished diamond, right? And he said to me, look, I'm going to teach you how to beat these guys. And I was a very rough diamond, and I beat a lot of I beat 10 out of the 12 guys, and I'm going to be very modest and say, like, I had an okay amateur career. It was fast tracked, and I did the best I could in that short period. But it was always my goal. Like I dreamt, and I used to watch like Bernard Hopkins, Floyd Mayweather, Ricky Hatton, all be champions and all be self-esteem. It was just sort of that era, and I really wanted to be a professional. The amateurs was, in my mind, always going to be a short pit stop. It was to get what I needed out of the amateurs, progress as fast as I could throughout the amateurs, and then turn professional. And the pros haven't gone as expected. That's why I'm 2-0 despite being a professional for 2 years and not had a huge amount more. Some of that has been through injury, and some of that has been through this crazy times that we're living in. But again, you have to play the hand you've been dealt. And a really profound book that I've read that helped me sort of to accept some of the circumstances and helped me to accept of what I can control is the chimp paradox. I can't remember the author, but the chimp paradox is a really, really strong book in which really helped me take control of my mind.
I'll check that book out. I'll give it.
It's really interesting.
Because your last fight was in October 2019, which seems like a long time ago now, but it was only 5 months later the whole country shut down, and there's been very little sporting events on. I know boxing has been on, but not like it. Nowhere near the number of shows than pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a long time out of the ring, but me and my mates were on board because we've watched your fights on YouTube and your amateur fights. And honestly, anyone watching this that doesn't know who Josh is, go on YouTube, check him out, because he's definitely one to watch. And you can jump on now and enjoy an organic journey instead of pretending you followed it when he's in 5 years' time, when he's achieved great things.
No, that'd be appreciated. I mean, I'm like people are gonna come across me at different periods of their life, and I'm cool with that. But I'm also really, really thankful for those who have jumped on for the start when it's been the roughest stage, the roughest part. So anyone that wants to tune in, more than welcome. Even if you're coming to watch me lose, it ain't gonna happen, but still tune in.
Do you have any plans for, post lockdown? Because I know you're staying in shape and keeping ready. Speaking to Steve Goodwin tomorrow, is there an aim for you yet? Is there like obviously don't tell me anything, but like a penciled in date to work towards? Because
tell Steve Goodwin, feed me some of his boys. Put on a show and feed me. I'm hungry. Tell him when you speak to him.
I will do.
And if you don't know, and if he doesn't know me, tell him to get to know me. Jokes aside, I'm staying ready. We're hoping to pencil something. I know promoters now, so likes of Steve Goodwin, the likes of Scott Kaler, the smaller hall show promoters are starting to pencil in some dates now for the mid to back end of the year. It was talked about with these promoters that I want to be fighting for a regional title this year and pushing on for English honours at the back end of this year. Again, in a fairly fast track but sensible manner. Again, like I know that you have to take steps in this game because there's one thing you can't buy or pretend to have, and that's experience, and that you learn with fights. So we're going to take the right fights at the right time. We're not going to just rush just for the sake of COVID, but at the same time, we have to appreciate I'm 28 years old. we have to appreciate the whole dynamics and structure of the world has changed. The way that people are watching fights has changed. A lot more money is in TV streaming, so it's about popularity, about putting bums on seats and eyes on TV screens. So we have to be entertaining, have to be in closer fights at earlier stages of our career. At the same time, we're not going to jump in with a world champion of 2-0. Like, we're not deluded. There has to be the right steps, and so I personally think, and the team personally thinks, I'm ready for a regional title, whether that be a Southern area or because I box out the Midlands, I believe I'm eligible for a Midlands title. And that would be quite good after 3-4 fights to have a Midlands belt around me, or a Southern area title around me. Then we progress 2 or 3 more fights if we can get those in, and by the end of the year, potentially challenging for an English title. And we have to see how the landscape pans out, and that would be a good end to the year. To say there's anything set in stone, penciled in, is just like the government plans. Nothing is set in stone, and it might be changed. Anything might change in the next week or to 10 days. So I would hate to make any promises, but at the same time, I'm staying ready. So if any opportunity does pop up, then we're ready to take it.
Yeah, I think it's very important for athletes, especially the boxers, to stay ready, because you don't want to be in a position where you have to say yes because you haven't boxed in a long time and you're not ready. And I think it's commendable that you're going through the start of your career in a lockdown and you still stayed dedicated, training hard, keeping ready. And I can't say if I would do the same, because I've never been in that position. But I know how hard it's been for me personally to stay positive, and it's easy when you're on furlough. It sounds rude, but it's, even though I own my business and I've got staff, I still they're paid because they're getting furlough money. I've had money come in because the government, thankfully, have supported businesses as much as they can, although some would say it's not enough. But if someone being supported through this is getting down, it's commendable how someone who relies on ticket sales at an event has stayed positive, gone to the gym, trained, worked hard, and has kept hold of their aspirations. Which
it's like, I mean, the likes of Linus, likes of Brad, they've clearly stayed in the gym as well. And like, you got to think, if for example, the likes of Linus, who is a champion, he's staying in the gym, well, there's no excuse why I ain't staying in the gym. And you have to walk by faith sometimes and not by sight. You have to believe that what you're doing is the right thing, and you're putting it in all the necessary pre-education that you can to make sure you're going in the right direction. Because sometimes you don't know what the right direction is. You just have to walk by faith. And that's what I like. If I was to give any sort of closing message to people, particularly at this time, it would be, just remember, you are the master of your fate. You are the master of your soul, and walk by faith and not by sight.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, just quick before we go, I know you've only got.
Let's go.
I know you've only got half an hour in it, because your first fight, you made a massive impression on the commentators. Rightly or wrongly, they compared you to Anthony Yard. Personally, I can see the comparison with short, stocky, strong guy. Boxing style is completely different, but that is still a compliment and a half on your pro debut.
Yeah, I mean, they're not the first people to say that, and I do think that I do understand some of the similarities, and I will take that as a compliment, because they're not saying it in derogatory terms in any way, shape, or form. And he is a fantastic fighter. And so I'll take that as an utmost compliment. Hopefully in the next sort of 2 to 3 years, people say that he boxes like Joshua Gooden, and not the other way around. That's going to be my goal, to say that Anthony Yard boxer's a bit like the diamond, and not the other way around. So, but I think my footwork's a little bit more different. I mean, I'm a lighter fighter, so I fight in about 3 or maybe 4 divisions lower. So I have more in and out darting footwork. I think I throw a lot more feints than he does. So stylistically, I think there is differences. At the same time, he's a very much a power puncher, whereas I think I'm more of a combination type puncher, sort of more of a counter puncher when I need to be. And so I see the similarity. I see why people make those similarities. We're similar in complexion, similar hairstyles when we fight, and similar type build. Other than that, I think we're quite different.
Oh yeah.
But nonetheless, Anthony Yarn, I'm coming for you. It's diamonds in the camp, not lions in the camp. No pressure, no diamonds. That's the slogan.
It is, mate. It's my mindset now.
Love that. Love that. Yeah. Anytime pressure comes, like accept it, absorb it, relish it, because at the end of it, you know, when that pressure comes, if you do those 3 things, you know that there's a diamond going to come out of it, and that's it. That's really what happens, and it's a philosophy for life.
Where can people follow you on social media?
So it's Josh Diamond Goodin on Instagram, Josh Goodin on Facebook, and I have a Twitter. I'm not really active on it. I know I should be more active on it. I think it is Josh TD Goodin. However, I'm not 100% sure, but if you come across me on Twitter, yeah, you can follow me. Probably won't see much action for me unless if I could start calling some people out in the next year or so, and then it'll probably blow up. But until then, the best place to catch me on is Instagram on Josh Diamond Goodin.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, as soon as you know when your next fight is in, let us know and we'll put it out as well, and we'll be coming down to watch.
Brilliant. Love that, Luke, and thank you. We're back. I was just dropping the biggest bomb ever. It was shout out to haircuts and uppercuts, sharpest trims in the business, and boxing knowledge down to a T.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the Haircuts
I really
podcast.
appreciate you.
I'll